And I want to welcome you today. Today I am doing a personal interview with Debi Collins. And Debi is involved with Brookdale Broadway Cityview. And I'm going to have her tell us a little bit about her role and her experience in the senior industry, because she has a lot to share.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Yeah.
Again, my name is Debi Collins. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director here at Brookdale Broadway Cityview. I've been in this community now for a little over 11 years. In fact, this coming March will be 12. And I would tell you that's a common theme of what I see in this community. There's a lot of tenure here, both in our staff and in my residents. I started with this community as a sales counselor, and I've been sitting in my current role now for 6-7 years, I guess. Time flies, it gets away from me. But it's really a very fulfilling position. It's kind of the type of thing you go home at night and you can lay your head down because you feel like you've done some good for people.
Yeah. That's great. That's really great. And you know, that's one of the things that is no secret to you that I've shared with you numerous times, that it's really nice with the relationships that myself and my team have with retirement communities. It's really nice to walk in somewhere where you know someone that's still there. So and I think that says great things about your staff as well, that they're still, you know, present. They're working because they enjoy it as much as you do.
Well, I think it's not just a job, it's a career, and they're giving back. And so, you know, there's something that fills your heart in doing this. And I think that's why we all continue to do what we do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we have to be working, why not be doing something that we really like, especially that's fulfilling when we're serving others. I know that's a common theme that we both share. So, you know, as we talk about retirement communities, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, I know that there are different types, and I never want to assume that the people that are watching this today know them as well as you do, and as well as I've learned from people like yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference in the term independent living and continuing care retirement? What's different about that?
Well, I think the biggest difference with a continuing care, they have multiple levels that they're offering a client. And so if you're looking to transition perhaps from your home into something that has just a little bit more services than you're getting from your home, then you have your independent. But continuing cares, depending on how they're structured, can carry you from independent living through skilled nursing with levels in between. I think the value in that is you're not moving multiple times. You're not giving up the continuity of getting to know a new place and having your friends, so everything stays connected with you. Whereas independent living, while they'll do the same services, many times depending on the community itself and how it's structured, they may not be able to care for the higher levels of care, so you're moving again. I don't know, Ingrid, and I've always said there's not a right or a wrong to anything. It all depends upon the person and what best fits their needs, what they're looking for.
Oh, okay. Well, and I think that is good. I mean, it's moving today for someone that's older, maybe looking at their last move. That's what they really are hoping for, is that it's going to be their last move and they're not having to pare down again. I know that I see a lot of times for us, that's part of the biggest deal, is trying to figure out what can I take or should I take with me. So being able to stay in the same place as long as your health allows I think is really important. You know, you've mentioned in the past that there is a definition that a lot of times we forget of the term retirement or retirement community. Tell us about that.
Retirement community is meant to be a freeing experience. It's a lifestyle. I think people come into retirement communities for lots of reasons, and sometimes it's just you're not eating right. Sometimes it's you're lacking the socialization or the entertainment values. And so retirement living is meant to fulfill the things that are voids in your life. And make you whole again if something's missing.
Mhm. You know, I've seen changes in our clients, and I'll use a comparison. Um, for someone that has retired from their job many years ago, they still live in their home, they're by themselves for certain health reasons, whether it be they can't drive anymore or a loss of a spouse and they want to stay in the home. Their lifestyle is so much different, and in some cases, or a lot of cases, shorter than people that actually do make that move to a retirement community where they now are bonding and building new friends. I think giving them a reason to stay healthy and live longer. Would you agree?
I agree, I agree. And I think it also puts them in a situation where they're with people that perhaps are the same age or like-minded or have traveled or work the same kinds of jobs. So there's some commonality in that. And, you know, as humans, we're very social people. And when we've lost that socialization component, it takes a toll on us. So retirement living is meant to fill the voids and the gaps of the things that are missing in our life today and make life pleasurable. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I've seen is folks looking at retirement communities. There is such a fear for them coming in because the mindset is, gosh, this is going to take away my freedom. It's about clipping my wings. And once they understand that that's not what retirement living is meant to be at all, they go, it's like this, oh my gosh, you know, I wish I'd known this before.
I've seen people make comments like, why would I want to move to a place with a bunch of old people? I'll just get older quicker.
Well, it's not the case. Again, in my community, I've got folks in their mid-60s. I've got folks over 100. So they've aged in place, and this community is built to service them in the place that they're at today, to provide the services, to allow them to continue and grow and to do what they can to the best of their abilities. And Ingrid, I can tell you, I've got 90-year-old ladies that are running around here, and I don't know what they're drinking or they're doing, but I want part of it, okay? I keep standing closer to them, go, if I just stand close to you, will it all rub off on me?
Right, right.
So trust me, I think when people are socially engaged and they have mental stimulation and they're physically active and they're eating well-balanced meals, it's just proven we age with grace. And
Do you have to be retired? Do you have to be retired to live at your community?
Not necessarily. I have people here that still work part-time that run businesses remotely through the internet. So there are just people out there that can't totally retire. They don't want perhaps some of the worry and the overhead of jobs that they've had, but they still want to be involved in things. So absolutely. I have folks that live here part-time with me, and they have houses, East Coast, West Coast. And so, you know, they're leaving us when the summer heat of Texas is too much, and they're going east or west, and then they're coming back when the winters there are not suiting to them. So,
wow.
So more of that lock and leave. You have the ability to travel, to do the things that you enjoy doing or you wanted to do and perhaps never did them.
Well, that's a good thought. I have 3 clients of my own that love living there. Can't say enough about your community. And that being said, tell I want to know more about it. Tell us what your community offers. Tell me about the different styles of living that you offer.
Oh my gosh. Broadway is such a unique community. I think the fact that we are a rental continuing care has a big draw for us. We have apartments. There's 125 apartments, 4 floor plans. So they're going to range anywhere from 600 to 1,400 square feet. So you are downsizing, but it's all very usable space. I can tell you one of the uniquenesses about Broadway, I realized early on when I got here, is folks are coming in and they're spending our money. Now remember, I'm a rental community, but they're making changes in these apartments or villas, and I'll get into villas in just a second, with their money under our supervision, because their thought process is, gosh, I want this to be home. And so I've seen patios enclosed, bathrooms remodeled. I've seen walls knocked down.
Wow.
I have one apartment upstairs that they completely took it down to the studs and started over.
Wow.
And you know, it's interesting to me. I've had units I've walked into and found myself standing here going, okay, what did I just walk into? This doesn't look anything like this floor plan that I'm looking at. And so we're definitely not a cookie cutter community.
Yeah.
We also offer little garden homes. And so we clearly understand that for some people transitioning from their home to retirement living, they don't want to be in an apartment. And so garden homes, or we call them villas, give you that feeling of a home. It's a patio front and back. It's a single story vaulted ceiling structure, but it gets all of the same services that we provide in apartments. And so we have the ability to recognize your lifestyle and find what suits you best.
I'll bet you have quite a wait list for those villas.
We do. I have 88 of them and they stay full.
Oh my goodness, 88. How big is the area that your community is placed at?
I'm sitting here on 26 acres.
Wow.
So as you come down Bryant Irvin, most people have no idea that we're
Wow.
here. You can see the rooftops of villas, you see my little garden gate, and it just kind of looks like maybe it's a condo project. And generally what I hear when people walk in is, I had no idea what was down here.
Well, that's true. That's true. So, you know, when you mentioned earlier about people coming in and doing updates and things like that, so what happens when they leave and the floor plan's totally different? Then the next person comes in and does their own thing, or do they have to take it back to what it was? How's that work?
Well, we're blessing it. So when they come in and they're making the changes, it's under our supervision. So we need to know that it's tastefully done and within reason that it's going to be accepted by the next person. You know, paint's changeable, but any solid structures, yeah, we have to understand what's going on.
Right.
So it's just marketing and saying, I understand that you were looking for this certain villa, but let me tell you about what I have that is embellished. And so it's much like you do in your real estate business, is understanding your inventory, understanding what your client is looking for, and being able to match their needs.
Well, that sounds great. Gosh, that's really great. Does your community accept pets?
Yes, we are pet friendly. So limits in apartments, you know, they need to be below 10 pounds, a little larger dog or cat out in my garden homes, because many of them do have yards and fences. So, you know, more adaptable to your larger.
Do you mow the front lawns and the back lawns? So you say they're patio homes, so they're probably not much lawn.
Well, not traditionally. There are smaller yards for the most part, but yes, all of the maintenance and upkeep is taken care of inside and out. So that's something that we assume. So you as my resident don't have to worry about that.
That's nice. That's one of the reasons people like that lock and leave lifestyle.
There you go.
Tell
And
me
when
about
you
some
come
of the other
home,
amenities that you have.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, Ingrid.
I apologize for interrupting you. I didn't mean to do that. Tell me about some of the other amenities that your community offers to your residents.
Well, okay, what's included in the rent are things like your utilities, heat, air, water, and trash. So each one is independently heated and aired. It's two meals a day, breakfast and a choice of lunch or dinner. It is restaurant style dining, so it's seated and served, and they're choosing from a menu that changes daily. Nice. We clean for them weekly. We will change the bed and bath linens while we're there. We provide them with a full-size washer and dryer, so we can start that washing process. I do have a commercial laundry that can take the bed and bath linens and launder them for them, bring them back laundered and ready to go the next week. As far as we have 2 workout rooms, I have a beautiful indoor pool. We do water classes 3 days a week with an instructor in the water. The pool is heated. It has a retractable roof, so it is year round. Just all kinds of different programs. So we do things inside and outside. I kind of like to describe us as a landlocked cruise ship. So yeah. It's kind of like being on a cruise ship. We feed you, we entertain you, we take you places. You just don't have the wobbly legs coming back in. So
Yeah. So you have independent living and assisted living,
Yes.
and then what from there?
Okay, I have a service called personalized living that is meant to bridge you between the independent side and the assisted. So it just sustains you a little bit longer on the independent side. So we can layer in some services like bathing or medications or dressing. You have your assisted. We have skilled nursing. I have rehab for your short-term stays. If you've had a hospital stay, you're back home with us where you should be. We do hospice, we do home health care, and I have outpatient rehab as well.
Oh, okay. So when you mention the services, I've heard that term bridge. Is that what you're speaking about as far as bridging the services that you might have from one style of living to another when it comes to healthcare?
Yes, so we understand that as we age, and especially if it's a couple, sometimes one couple, one part of that component ages differently than the other one does. So we want to keep the one from being the primary caregiver to the other. Bringing in personalized living gets the services for the person in need, but it keeps them whole as a family.
That's nice.
And I just find that it improves the integrity of each of them individually.
I can imagine. That's great because that can be very tiring for some, for sure. Um, do you have any idea of the ratio from couples to singles that you have there at your community?
We've got a good number of couples, okay? So I would say you're probably 30% couples, maybe higher, maybe a little higher. I'd have to stop and think about it, Ingrid. As far as singles, I've got more single ladies than I do men.
And that's pretty typical.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that sometimes for single ladies, when they're moving somewhere else, there's the hesitation of, well, they're going as a couple, so I'm not really going to fit in. But I'll bet you have lots of activities that go on there that would include everybody.
Oh, absolutely. And then they'll do group activities. We do things for the guys where they can, just kind of get out. We do things for the ladies. So, and then group activities. So everybody gets a little bit of what they need.
That's great. That's great. What would you say is the biggest showstopper that someone might have when they're considering moving to a retirement community?
I'm not sure I know what you mean by showstopper.
Well, okay, so I'm bringing my mother to look at your community because she's interested in having something smaller. She looks at your community, loves everything about it, but can't seem to make up her mind. What are some of the things that occur there with someone hesitating to make the change, make the leap?
I think sometimes it's fear, okay? Sometimes it's denial of admitting that there's a reason that they're out looking. The neighborhood's changed. It's understanding the concerns of the family and also of the prospect, of helping them understand that the value in retirement living and what we bring to them, of introducing them to our residents that can help show them, and help them understand that they've stood in their shoes. I think probably our biggest competition out there, if we want to talk about, what stops people, is their homes. I hate to say it, it's that thought that I can't give my home up. This is home. I've been here for all of these years.
Right.
And so it's helping them understand that this can be just like your home. It's your home with embellishments. So I think that's probably the biggest hurdle. And we'll hear the hesitation, but I think once they've experienced the community and they've met some of our residents and they get a better feel and they've had some lunches and participated in events, then they start to come around and they start to realize that perhaps this is not at all that preconceived idea that I thought it was.
Because you've been there so long, I imagine you probably know a lot of your residents well. Do you help to try to, I don't want to say put people together, but maybe pair people together when they first move in so they have someone that kind of show them the ropes, if you will?
Sure. We have resident ambassadors, and so we have
Okay.
residents that have volunteered to do this. So we, we learn a little bit about our residents coming in. We understand that if they're bridge players, I want to get them with, people that are on the ambassador committee that plays bridge. Let's get them in. Let's find out, do they like duplicate? Are they party bridge? What are they doing? So yeah, we will stop by, the ambassador will come by the apartment or the villa and spend some time with them, explain kind of the ins and outs of how to navigate the community. We will have new resident orientation where we as marketers will go through and reinforce everything that we've talked to them about in the past. We'll have all resident meetings where we're introducing them, we're doing a little bio on them. And so we're helping our other parts of our community get to know them and understand what they like. And so we're just constantly touching and guiding and positioning them until they start making some friends. And many times they're the ones that want to volunteer to be ambassadors as well.
Oh, that's great. I like that. So there's probably an adjustment time, would you say, for somebody that's coming in? I mean, we try to say when we're talking to somebody that's considering making a move that because it is going to be, because you're downsizing, that in itself is going to be an adjustment, and it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to be right away. There are some people that maybe have traveled or worked and traveled a good part of their life and they can adjust quickly. But for the most part, there's some adjusting, right?
There is. And, I would say a good 60, 90 days, just because, you kind of have to learn the lay of the land. You've got to get your feet on the ground. It's kind of like sending your parent back to college in many ways. It's learning how to get where you need to go. It's making those friends, if you're not quite as outgoing as some are, then tipping your way into, these groups. And so, it does take a little bit of patience, but I think what you're going to find is the residents that live here are very loving and welcoming, and they've stood in the shoes of the newcomers, and they're going to help guide them. They're going to not allow them to feel like they're alone in this because they've been there too.
Yeah, that's great. That really is. I think that's a comforting feeling for someone. It's scary as well. I know that my dad, when he moved, actually my dad did move into a continuing care retirement community in Missouri, and he didn't want to play cards. He didn't want to play bridge. He didn't know how to play bridge. He wasn't interested. What he wanted was to be able to get his coffee, read his newspaper, and plug in his crock pot on the weekends. That was his thing. We always tried to encourage him, be really nice. You should go meet some other people. He did befriend just a couple, but he wasn't the socialite that we thought he would be. And I think just coming to your community and seeing all of the choices that are on the calendars, it's nice that people have those choices to participate if they want to. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not for everyone. And so that's the beauty of this. It's not forced. You look at your calendar, kind of like that cruise ship. You pull it in, you look down, you go, yep, I really want to do that. Not so interested in that. And so you're designing your day around you and what you prefer.
If somebody has appointments to go to, now they're still driving, but they have appointments to go to, is there a vehicle or a car that can help them get around town if they need to go doctor or something like that?
Absolutely. So we have cars and buses. They need to pre-schedule their trip 24 hours in advance. We'll take them in a 15-mile radius of this community. So that gets us comfortably into the downtown area. We do individual count, so if they have a doctor's appointment, we can take them individually. We do group outings. So if we're going to Bass or to the Arboretum, then we're having a little road trip. We're signing up on the bus and going, and then we will have grocery store runs. So we can take them as a group to the grocery store. So there's just lots of different things going on.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. And you said that you have skilled nursing. So there's probably Well, that would require 24/7 care. But if something were to happen to somebody on site, is there someone there that can address that? They fall, something like that, or does it depend on where they live?
Well, my gate is guarded 24/7, so there's always people in this community. In independent living, each of our residents wears a pendant. We call it Sarah. So if it's monitored 24/7, if they were to fall, depression of that is going to send security to look in on. From there, we're going to dispatch appropriate personnel
Okay.
or services. In assisted living, there's always someone on the floor, whether it is a nurse, whether it's a med aide or a certified nurse's aide. And they have the Sarah button as well, along with pull cords in both their apartments, in their living room and in their bathroom area. Upon skilled nursing and rehab, there is nursing on the floor 24/7. So there's always someone around to help. Plus they have the pull cords as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And like you mentioned, someone that may have had a knee replacement or a hip replacement and they can't quite go home yet, that they could come there for rehabbing as well,
Sure.
which
Sure.
is great. That's great
Yeah.
because it kind of gives them a preview of what you have to offer in the event that they decide that, or the decision's made that maybe they can't go back home.
Sure. And so
Yeah.
we've had some people go into rehab and actually transition into perhaps assisted living where it's just, home is no longer a good situation for them.
Yeah, yeah. I could see where that having that there would be important. When we check in on our clients, like I mentioned, we currently have 3 that are living there now. It's interesting because they will always say, gosh, I didn't realize this could be so easy, and I wished I'd done that sooner. And I think from all the things that you've been sharing with us, that really says a lot about that comment. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's just the understanding of everything, how fulfilling retirement living can be. And so taking that leap of faith and coming and realizing that it's everything we told them and perhaps more than they thought it would be. But we've dispelled those fears they had coming in that, gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And those folks, our residents, are our best marketing tool because they're the ones that are out there telling their friends of, oh, you don't know what you're missing. I mean, it really does make a difference in your life.
Yeah,
And I know the 3 that you're talking about, I mean, I think you had a great deal to do with getting them here. So thank you for your seminars and thank you for all of your support because I know while I was talking to them, they're coming into me going, oh, well, I was out here and I saw Ingrid. So, thank you for that.
yeah. It's just it's a pleasure to be able to help them get from one place to the other and make it easy on them. I think the best thing that we could hear as service providers is, I wished I'd done it sooner because it makes their life easier. While you're mentioning that, I think I've shared this with you. We actually wrote a book called The Ultimate Guide to Downsizing. And one of the other questions that I had for you was, when someone plans to take a tour of your community, they're going to usually, my comment would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's usually not convenient for somebody just to show up and walk in. Usually they need to make an appointment because it's important for that person to be able to spend quality time with them. In our book, we have a list of questions that we have researched for them to take along with them if they've had that to ask. But what are some of the questions that come up for you when somebody's touring your community that might be important for our audience to hear?
Well, I think it's a lot of the things you've covered today. What makes you different from everyone else out there? Tell me about a continuing care. And so some of, hearing what they're looking for, what's important to them, helps us understand how to respond to them. I mean, some people are just happy with living in a senior living community of senior 55 plus. Other folks are happy, everybody has their own desires. They usually want to know about the cost and what goes into the cost and how do we justify that.
Right.
They want to know about the meals and the all-day dining and how do I navigate that, because they're concerned about, do I have to eat at noon? Do I have to eat at 5 o'clock? Well, no, you don't. So you've got flexibility. So I think it's just helping them understand how this community can mirror their needs and meet their needs. But first, I've got to understand what it is that they're seeking for, what's important to them, and what's important to their family members.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to get to the bottom of what's driving this decision. You've got to understand before I can provide solutions.
Well, and that, that in itself makes a big difference, because you have to want to, I would want to seek out someone for a family member that wants to know what their needs are. Not just to sign them up for a lease in a community. But sometimes with all of the time and effort that you spend, sometimes there's going to be people that are just not a good fit for your community. You probably have had a few. And what do you do in that case?
I'm going to help them. I'm going to make a referral. So that's the beauty of what I do and have been in this community for so long. If monetarily they can't afford a continuing care, and I've now understood what their budget is, and perhaps it's just a senior 55 plus, then we've got 2 or 3 around, and I'm going to refer to them. I'm going to make suggestions. I never want anyone to walk out my door with me just saying, I'm so sorry, I can't help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you need, because I care about that family, I care about the families that are looking, I want to try to direct them into something that is going to fulfill their needs.
That's great.
I would expect somebody to do that for me, rather than
Exactly.
just say, I'm so sorry, I can't help you.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's kind of defeating.
Yeah.
I've asked you a lot of questions today, and you've shared some really great information about your community and about your knowledge, which is really comforting. Before we end our time together today, is there anything in particular that maybe I didn't ask you that would be important to share with our audience?
I really can't think of anything, Ingrid. I think you had some really good questions. I may or may not be the right community for you. I'd certainly love to have the opportunity to explain to you about a rental CCRC and the values that we provide. At the end of the day, like I said, if I'm not that right community, I'm going to do my level best to try to get you in front of somebody that can help you, get you where you need to be. So, for me, it's just not about the sale. It's really about helping that family coming through the door.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Is there anything in particular that you would share with us that makes why you've stayed with a Brookdale community all this time? Are they different?
Well, I think Brookdale is very caring, and they're a very good community to work for. With this, what I see in this particular community, I think is why I stayed. I see the value in a continuing care. I love the fact that I can help my residents transition from point A to B. I can dispel the fears. I love the fact that I'm a rental. I think there is a lot of value in a rental. Not everybody wants that large buy-in. Mm-hmm. And I think there is huge value in my little garden homes. And so for me, it just gives me so many different things to talk about, so many different options and opportunities to try to meet their needs. And that, along with the wonderful staff, the professionals that work here, and my residents, that's what keeps me here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a great place. I mean, it really is. It's every time I come there to visit, I'm more impressed with what you have to offer there. One of the things that I'd like to end with is I want to thank you for being a sponsor for us in our current Smart Senior series that we have running at this time. We really love putting together educational options for people that currently are seeing this on a Zoom or coming to a personal seminar. But I appreciate your being a sponsor for us, and we always look forward to fulfilling the needs of those people out there that we can. And I want to thank you so much today for spending time with us.
Ingrid, it's my pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity to be a sponsor. You know, I think I could tell you we'd do it over and over again. I just see such value in what you folks are providing. And so thank you for what you're doing as well.
I want to make sure and share with people that if they have any other questions regarding your community, that they should feel free to give Debi Collins a call. And they can reach you at your number that we have posted for them. And they can refer back to some of the things that we've done on our recording today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ingrid. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You too. Bye, Debbie.